Hey guys, Greg Blazing here, along with Tyler Struck. I handle all the catching for the Rhino program. Tyler was a player of ours, 2019 grad. He's currently at Valparaiso. They're obviously shut down right now, just like the rest of the baseball world. But Tyler's going to demonstrate all the drills, so we're going to be sending out 4 different workout regimens specific to catchers. Each session is going to have a receiving component, a blocking component, a throwing component, and then a strength or a mobility component. So Tyler's going to demonstrate throughout the day. So first thing that we're going to work on, really for all of our catchers, the one thing that is critical for catchers is being able to get to the bottom of the strike zone. So we do a lot of hip mobility things. So the first one that Tyler's going to demonstrate is something that we call cranes. And so Tyler will go ahead and demonstrate. So he's going to start as he walks forward. He should do this for about 45, 50 feet, something like that. So we can go the whole length of our turf here right now. So he's going to start, he's going to walk, he's going to open up his hip, and he's going to step up and over like he's stepping up and over a hurdle, trying to drive the foot up as he goes along. And catchers, as you do this, you should feel your hip socket really open up. This should be a standard part of every single workout that you do, every warm-up that you do. And then on the way back, we're going to reverse it, and now we're going to start closed, and we're going to open it up as we walk backwards. Really make sure as you're doing this that it's not rushed. Okay, take your time on these drills. Just a couple more would be good, Tyler. That's good. So next we're going to focus on our actual leg strength. A lot of times our younger players we see get really tired. You see a guy not be able to catch sometimes more than 3 or 4 innings. And one thing I tell you is if you're a catcher, you should be able to catch the entire game and probably be ready to catch some of the next game. So that's something that you have to work on at home. So one easy way to do it, it's a basic wall sit. Okay, so Tyler's going to sit down, he's going to try to get at a 90-degree angle, and we're going to make sure that he's pressing his chest back the entire time. Okay, when you do this drill, this is a drill that you should do 3 sets of a minute. You might get a little bit shaky leg, but something you definitely want to finish the whole set. A couple of things that we're looking for is we want to make sure that our feet are not starting to slide away, or our feet aren't sliding out, and that our butt is not starting to dip down. So we want to hold it there for 60 seconds. As guys get stronger, they can take their hands, they can set them up on the wall just to make sure that we really limit what our hands are doing and make sure there's no cheating. So whenever we talk about catching, we're always going to talk about 3 different types of stance as a catcher. The 2 that are easy to remember is always going to be your relaxed or your primary, and then your secondary stance or your active stance when guys are on base, we need to block, we need to throw. One that we typically forget a lot about is just our signing stance. So Tyler's going to go ahead and get down in a signing stance. A couple of things that we're really looking for here. Okay, the first thing that we want to make sure is we have to start on our glove side. So our glove side, we really have 2 options. Okay, you can do it as Tyler does it here, where you can kind of set it down on the side here. Some catchers are a little bit more comfortable. They'll set it up top and kind of wrap around their knee, a little bit like that. Either way, whether you're on top or you're down here, it's okay. Okay. The second part that we're looking for is we're going to look at the right side, so his right knee. Okay, Tyler, go ahead and push your knee wide open. If Tyler's knee is wide open like this, that's a dead giveaway to the first base coach, to base runners on what pitch is coming. If I'm a base runner and I see him flash a curveball, it's a very good time to run. So we always want to take that knee, we want to angle it directly towards the second baseman. We always tell our players the only people that you'll be able to see our signs are going to be our pitcher, our shortstop, and our second baseman. Okay? The last thing we want to make sure is where our actual hand signals are. So our hand signals here, as you can see, we've got our hand pushed right up against our cup. Okay, not too high, not too low. And then when we give our signals, we want to make sure that we put them straight down. Okay, not angled up or angled back. Okay, so as an example, if Tyler's going to give a fastball here, finger goes straight down. Okay. One more thing, Tyler, making sure that we're all on the same page here of calling the right signs. What we do across the board as a program, especially when we get to the high school age, if we give a fastball inside, it's going to be the index finger just pointed straight to our left thigh, our left quad. And then if we want a fastball outside, we use our pinky. we want a curveball, it's 2. If we've got a third pitch, like a slider or could be a knuckleball or anything like that, it would be a 3. A wiggle we always use for changeup, and then if we want to pick off, we use the thumb. Okay, next up for blocking today for our first routine, we'll talk a little bit more about the active stance later, okay, but Tyler's going to be operating in the active stance or the secondary stance. Okay, so a couple things that we're going to look for here. Notice that his glove is very close to the ground. The lower we get to the ground, as we work down to up, catching becomes a whole lot easier. Okay, notice that his hand is protected here. If you don't like it right off there off of your hip flexor, the only other place that you should be able to put that would be in an active stance, would be behind your glove. That's a little bit more old school, so most of our catchers now do like it right off of their hip flexor. Okay, so we've got a good low target, and then all we're going to do right now is we're just going to do some dry blocks, so we're going to check form. Okay, so, all right, go ahead and block. Okay, so a couple of things that we're looking for here with Tyler, and I'm going to push Tyler into some spots that we see a lot of players sometimes get to. We don't want players sitting back on their heels, okay, so you should see his butt slightly elevated. Okay, you'd like to see his chest be at a good 45, chin down. Okay, you also want to make sure that his glove has completely covered his 5 hole, so we're really going to push that glove down. One of the things that we'll talk about blocking a little bit later is a lot of times based on velocity, you can't get your whole body to the right spot, but you can always get your glove there, so it's a glove lead block. Okay? Once we get to this spot, since we're at a 45-degree angle, that ball should always come back towards the plate. Some players will block and smother everything. This makes for a very small catcher and a very small target. When we block, okay, we want to be big as we can while still covering 5 hole, and we want to use our gear. Okay? When we start to get in trouble is when we do stuff like flinch with our chin. Okay, so if he flinched his chin, now all this stuff can be injured here, okay? Or if we start to turn away from the baseball, okay? Everything that we want to get hit here is going to be chest protector, our face is down. If we do get hit, we want the meat to get hit. We never want to be thumbs towards our target, or we start to get a serious amount of pain. There's a lot of nerves there. We can break thumbs, so we want to use our gear, and we have to trust our gear. If we get to the right blocking position, we're always going to be safe. I've never seen a catcher come out of a game by getting hit in the chest protector. Okay, as we talk about throwing, one of the things as a catcher, you can't always control the grip that you do get. It's such a quick movement and such an aggressive movement that sometimes you will not have a perfect grip on the baseball. However, whenever you do have a perfect grip on a baseball, throwing the ball is a whole lot easier. So whenever we throw a baseball, we always want to have across the horseshoe grip. So if you can see here how Tyler's holding that baseball. Okay, now no matter how we get the ball out of our glove, it doesn't matter if you grab a seam, like a slider. It doesn't matter if you grab it with the seams, across the seams, doesn't matter. We're never more than a quarter turn away from finding a perfect grip. So one of the drills we have our catchers do, and it's one that catchers love to do, it's real simple. When you're watching TV, put a baseball in your hand, spin it around your hand, and then pause it no matter where you get it, and then find 4 seams. Okay, so let's say pause. Okay, so that's wrong. We're going to get a slight quarter turn. We've got 4 seams. Okay, you can also do this by a pitcher if you kind of spin the ball up a little bit, grab it, find 4 seams. Okay, we really want to understand that our quarter turn can get there by the time that we get to our slot when we're going to throw the baseball. And another way that you can do it is you can also put the ball in your glove, roll it around your glove, reach in, grab the ball, get it back up, find 4 seams. Okay, pretty simple drill, but pretty important when we're thinking about throwing the ball down to second base.